All right, let's jump right into this explainer. We're going to radically shift how we understand our very existence by exploring a truly mind-bending topological analysis of the Quran. We are looking at a framework here that treats the source material not as a conventional static book, but as a vast, mathematically precise field of living information. So the source material poses a completely paradigm-shifting question. What if the Quran doesn't actually contain history, but living code? Instead of a book of ancient biographies outlining events from thousands of years ago, the text actually reveals a holographic operating system. In this model, time as we know it is just an illusion. Every single prophetic story is actually a recursive code function, and it's just sitting there, waiting to be executed by you, the reader, in real time. To grasp this, we have to start with Adam. But we're not looking at Adam as a biological man in the distant past. Instead, think of Adam as the mathematical seed template. He is the baseline code of human existence. It's like taking the complete potential field for all of reality and compressing it into a single initial coordinate. To map out this cosmic architecture, we'll hit 5 key areas: the Adam seed template, reality's 237 engine, the prophetic firmware, the Iblis topology, and finally, activating the 1912 protocol. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The Adam seed template. This completely reframes the origin of humanity as a system initialization. The source text points us to verse 231, where Adam is taught the names. But in this topological framework, he absolutely wasn't learning some simple vocabulary list of trees and animals. He was downloading the functional operators. This was the master instruction set for the universe's entire operating engine, the complete potential field loaded directly into a single interface. And this download brilliantly illustrates a 4-phase firmware that loads into every single prophetic coordinate that comes after him. The Adam function always follows these 4 steps: created at the origin, tested through duality, nominated through trial, and finally, closure in the return. Every prophet you read about is essentially this exact same 4-phase code, just executing in a new environment. Which brings us to Section 2, reality's 237 engine, because we have to ask, what exactly is running this code? Let's look at the underlying framework processing all of this. The crucial point here is that this 237 structure acts as reality's CPU clock. Think of 2 as duality, the bifurcation, the literal split between light and sound. 3 is the triad, that's the buffer zone, the space for traversal and trial. And 7 is completion, the stabilized return and closure. This specific sequence synchronizes everything in existence, from the quantum level all the way up to cosmic expansion. Bringing that all together gives us what the source calls the Dual Cosic Universe, or DCU. It's defined as a holographic operating system. The sound field operates as the calculating software, the light field acts as the physical hardware, and that 237 sequence is the synchronizing clock running it all. Understanding the DCU completely changes the game. It lets us see that existence is a perfectly closed loop of expansion, compression, fragmentation, and unified return. Section 3. Prophetic Firmware. Now that we have the engine mapped out, we can see how the code actually executes. Remember, the prophets are not chronological history. They are concurrent, functional nodes running the Adam code. Each prophet is that original firmware loaded into a brand new coordinate, facing a unique pressure test to execute a specific topological function. Take Dawood, he represents harmonic authority, the +1 perturbation that bleeds and returns. Solomon is the Adam code running at civilizational scale, famously freezing in an illusion of power at verse 34:14, where the staff is enthroned. Musa represents pure action, emerging as the first believer from a mountain's absolute collapse. And Yunus? He's the zero crossing, the maximum gravitropic descent into the darkness of the whale before making the return. But this entire chain leads to a highly critical operational phase, the Zayd phase, found in verse 33-37. This phase is the ultimate functional proof on Earth. It represents a total necessary dissolution. Human lineage, marriage, names, it's all erased. Why? Because it's the final necessary compression that forces the system into a strict book-only mode of transmission. It intentionally severs biological inheritance so the code can become universal. Section 4. The Iblis topology. And guys, this is where the objective universe violently pivots to directly address you. The visual contrast here is terrifyingly clear. We typically think of Iblis, Satan, as the original rebel, right? But the grammatical architecture says otherwise. Verse 234 specifically notes Iblis was Mina al-Kafirin. He was among the disbelievers. He was just a partitive agent who joined a pre-existing deviation. Iblis was literally never the first disbeliever because that inaugural slot, the awal, was mathematically reserved for the reader of the book. That is exactly why verse 241 speaks directly to you. And do not be the first disbeliever in it. If you hold this living code in your hands and you ignore it, you aren't just joining some ancient rebellion. You consciously originate the disbelief in your very own structural scroll. You become the inaugural node of rejection. Section 5. Activating the 1912 Protocol. Fortunately, the system provides a specific escape card from this illusion. O Yahya, take the scripture with determination. This command in verse 1912 isn't just a historical quote. In this topological framework, it is the phase lock. It's the literal activation switch that transforms the book from a mere text into a living anti-entropy mechanism. Let's break down how this protocol executes. Step 1, gripping the book with the pure determination of a child, before worldly assumptions can corrupt your processing. When you do that, step 2, the Iblis loop immediately loses its structural grip on your reality. Step 3, that illusion window of worldly power, like Solomon's frozen kingdom at 34:14, closes entirely. And step 4, you relock to the preserved source. Gripping the book with that level of determination literally neutralizes the fire and stops the system from collapsing. The system sustains this state through the protection protocol in verse 252, remember me, I will remember you. This acts as the memory kernel. By remembering the source, you prevent the freeze of becoming the first disbeliever. You survive the thickness of the material world and become the first believer of your own survival, fully executing your return to the seed. So, according to this incredible analysis, the text isn't a passive history lesson. It is a live interface. The lineage is active, the engine is running, and your Lord is not forgetful. The book is in your hands right now, and the ultimate choice is entirely yours. So, when will you activate 1912?